43%. That is the number of men who report difficulty getting or maintaining an erection at least some of the time. 43%. We aren't talking about men in their 70s here. We're talking about an entire generation of men in their 20s and 30s, men who are biologically supposed to be at their absolute physical peak. This is the uncomfortable reality nobody wants to speak about out loud.
The data from a massive Esquire survey paints a truly grim picture. A full quarter of these men, many of them under 40, deal with this humiliating issue far more often than they'd ever admit. Millions are sitting in total silence right now, convinced their bodies are fundamentally broken. They assume it's a physical defect, but the hardware is entirely fine. The problem is the software.
Drop a comment below if you've noticed a sudden, unexplained shift in your own focus, motivation, or drive over the past few years. You are far from the only one. The root cause of this widespread physical failure is entirely neurological. It's a modern crisis of the mind, perfectly disguised as a failing of the body.
Hijacking your brain. Look, I am so tired of a prevailing mainstream advice telling men to just get their testosterone checked or take a pill to mask the symptoms. That advice misses the mark completely. Your brain is quite literally being hijacked and reprogrammed against your will by neuroplasticity, driven by a supranormal stimulus.
Let's look at the mechanics of this. A normal stimulus activates standard reward mechanisms in your brain. It's balanced, it's natural. But a supernormal stimulus, like limitless, high-speed digital pornography, floods the brain with an unnaturally massive spike of dopamine. Now, the brain is highly adaptable. To protect itself from this relentless chemical overload, it downregulates. It becomes heavily desensitized, demanding increasingly extreme, novel inputs just to reach a baseline level of excitement. The everyday physical world simply cannot compete with that digital hyperreality. This neurological desensitization exacts a severe psychological toll. As a man spirals down into heavier usage just to feel anything at all, the internal damage compounds rapidly. The data strongly links this to heightened anxiety, drastically lowered self-esteem, and a diminished sense of identity. The man becomes a ghost in his own life. The motivation to pursue goals or build real connections entirely evaporates. He retreats into complete isolation. The relationship toll. This is where we see the heartbreaking collateral damage. The destruction doesn't stop at the edge of the screen, and it absolutely doesn't stop with the individual. The most devastating, unfair collateral damage falls entirely on romantic partners. The women in these men's lives bear the absolute brunt of this silent epidemic. There is a deeply painful contrast at play here. While the man experiences direct anxiety and desensitization, the partner is left to internalize the resulting lack of intimacy. Women facing this dynamic report crushing feelings of shame and inadequacy. Because the man won't admit what is hijacking his brain, she just assumes she's the problem. She perceives the lack of physical interest as a direct rejection of her worth. Over time, it completely shifts her view of him from someone who is fundamentally good to someone who is inherently deceptive. It's an emotional rock bottom for everyone involved. This skewed perception of reality utterly ruins intimacy. The brain, trained for years on pixel-perfect, highly edited digital bodies, creates impossible, inhuman standards. Put an otherwise beautiful, real woman in front of a heavily desensitized man, and his brain is unable to ignore the tiny blemishes or asymmetries. He can't get turned on by real-world beauty because it doesn't match the digital extreme. The natural becomes distinctly unappealing to him. This 60-day reboot. It's time to rewire the brain. Understanding the neurological trap is only the first step. Escaping it requires a definitive, no-nonsense protocol. There is zero middle ground here. This is the exact framework required to reverse the desensitization and reclaim complete self-mastery. Willpower is finite. Relying on brute mental force to beat a highly ingrained dopamine habit is a massive setup for immediate failure. Optimizing your environment is mandatory. Step 1. Block all sites across all devices. Remove the trigger. Step 2. Halt all masturbation for at least 1 week to force a rapid physical reset. Step 3. Find anonymous support. Hard data shows this dramatically increases success rates. And Step 4. Forgive your relapses. Keep in mind, roughly 80% of men overdo this habit. Beating yourself up only fuels the shame that drives the behavior in the first place. Reclaiming your drive. Let's look at a 60-day timeline. To accurately map out what this recovery arc looks like in practice, we're going to track a clinical case study. We'll call him Alex. Alex had been exposing his brain to daily supernormal stimuli for a solid decade.
Alex's progression follows a heavily documented pattern. Weeks 1 and 2 are absolute chaos, intense mood swings and powerful cravings as his brain starves for its usual dopamine flood. But by weeks 3 and 4, the resensitization rapidly takes hold. Alex experienced a massive surge of empathy and assertiveness. Real-world, everyday beauty became highly attractive again. Minor human flaws became endearing. By month 1, peak performance and genuine connection fully returned. He transformed from a detached consumer into a confident, present, caring human being. A fascinating milestone occurs when the brain successfully completes this reset. Attempting to return to the old habits suddenly feels completely repulsive. For Alex, viewing the same material he once consumed daily no longer felt exciting. It felt excessive, artificial, and profoundly dehumanizing. He suddenly noticed the sheer unhappiness and inauthenticity on the screen. The illusion was permanently shattered. The reality he reclaimed was far more compelling than the digital substitute.
Reclaiming your drive requires a hard look at how your environment shapes your mind. The protocol is strict, but it doesn't demand absolute flawlessness. A stumble doesn't mean the system is broken. As the saying goes, the point isn't to be closer to perfection, it's to live with more intention. Every single day you choose reality over a digital substitute, you take back control of your neurological baseline.
The hardware is fine. It's time to upgrade your software. So the only question left is, are you going to remain a passive consumer of a digital illusion, or are you ready to live in reality? Take back control of your life. Subscribe to Mentalities for more unapologetic, data-driven protocols to master your mind.